You were the most fascinating person there tonight. And I think the most beautiful.
Ammonite is a film from 2020 set on the rugged English coastline where Mary Anning, a singular middle-aged woman, spends her days walking the pebbled beaches in search of fossils to excavate and seashells to use on the cheap tourist trinkets she sells in her store. Having discovered one of the most intact dinosaur fossils as a child, she is infamous within archaeological circles, even if she is not part of it. When a man asks to shadow her as she walks the beach, she begrudgingly accepts, if only because they need the money. With him is his wife, Charlotte, who is suffering from melancholia, as he puts it, and she is too unwell to travel overseas with him. He makes arrangements for her to stay at the local hostel and pays Mary to take her out for walks along the beach. When Charlotte catches a severe cold following an attempt at sea bathing, Mary finds herself her nursemaid. Throughout her convalescence, an unspoken attraction blossoms that turns into an intense affair. This is a film that, I think, didn't get the attention it deserved. It garnered an SNL skit poking fun at lesbian period films that are abundant, but beyond that, didn't seem to cause much of a ripple except to receive criticism. And it's a shame because if you ask me, this is a beautiful quality film that numbers amongst my favourites. Like a lake, this film appears on the surface to be simple and straightforward, but beneath the placid surface, the waters churn. It's a film that requires attention and the observance of subtleties. Much is communicated in a glance, and while it has been something of a sapphic cliché to have two women staring longingly at each other, not daring to speak their attraction, here it is employed with mastery, as are so many seemingly small details that, when noticed, reveal nuanced characters and a nuanced story. Mary is tacked in, reticent, and tightly controlled. She has pulled her solitude around her like an armour to protect a deeply sensitive heart, one that yearns for love and companionship.
I start, and when the vision's flown, I weep and I am all alone.
From small clues peppered throughout the film, a picture is laid out of how she became this way, and FYI, spoilers from here on out. Being born of 10 children in which 8 of her siblings died, it's clear from the 8 little figurines that she and her mother carefully wash every day that this grief is still present with them.
I remember 6 of them dying. 8 babies dead. Each one taking something of her when they went. I had my work.
This is in addition to her father who is gone and the need to earn money for their keep, the erasure of her contribution to archaeology.
I was under the impression that fine London gentlemen were no longer interested in my sea creature relics. Fashion moved on. Did it not?
And a failed love affair with a local woman.
I just wasn't sure I could live up to you. Eventually I just stopped trying.
In so many ways, she's been dealt with a harsh hand, most especially in being rejected by her peers, we are to assume because she is a woman, when she is clearly very skilled, and yet we see her work repeatedly being claimed by men archaeologists. This means she is left to eke out a living selling cheap tourist trinkets. All of this has had the effect of Mary closing in on herself when it is also clear that she wants more. Certainly more recognition for her work, which is probably why she lets Charlotte's husband come walking the shoreline with her, because he flatters her ego.
I'm not a tourist, Miss Anning, I'm a scientist, like you.
Most especially, however, she wants more in her personal life too and hasn't been able to find it. That is, until she meets Charlotte.
It seems your Mrs. Murchison has been able to unlock something in you that I couldn't.
Perhaps it is Charlotte's grief, which the movie doesn't explicitly say, but if you pay attention to the clues, it's clear it's a miscarriage, which creates an inroad into Mary's heart because it is a feeling that she recognises and has learned to live with herself. Mary's growing feelings are revealed through the silences of the film. Perhaps the first glance at Charlotte is not immediately understood, but then when she watches Charlotte in bed as she is sick with fever, and then when she hesitates to put the pomade on her chest, it's moments like these that build the narrative of her attraction, and I thought Kate Winslet did such a beautiful job of keeping everything so tightly controlled so that those often brief but meaningful moments stood out. I read criticisms about how nothing much was happening and then very suddenly they're not just kissing but having sex, that was too jarring, but in all honesty it made perfect sense to me given how Mary had been framed up to that point. I think this is well shown in the long shot where Mary is watching Charlotte talk to her ex-lover when they are at a recital evening, and it shows the absolute turmoil that is going inside. And yet, the shot itself is very static. Mary hardly moves. She is a pressure top waiting to explode with everything that she feels, and when she does, we get some very passionate lesbian sex, which I certainly am not complaining about. The sex is therefore used to powerful effect both times. The second time it's used as a way to show the depth of their connection, the passionate attachment they have to each other, and the very desperate feeling of knowing that they must part, because even after their first time, Mary continues to be extremely guarded and gives very little away, apart from these moments of intimacy. Aside from the lovemaking, we see only brief glimpses of her daring to go with her feelings, most notably with the swim in the ocean. Charlotte joining her is not just showing a carefree, light-hearted moment for the women, but symbolic of Charlotte's willingness to wade out into deep waters to join Mary, and Mary awaiting her with open arms. This is probably what Mary has been wanting for so long, a partner who can join her in her life's work. This is further solidified by the sequence where they are looking for fossils, when Charlotte spots a large stone and they excavate and carry it. Here they are working as a team. Not only is Charlotte encouraging Mary to go for the bigger fossils again, something she doesn't do anymore, we are to intuit due to how her work has been treated by the Archaeological Association previously, but also when Charlotte eloquently speaks on Mary's behalf to then sell the fossil they find in that stone for full price. I think it becomes clear to Mary that Charlotte is a perfect counterpoint to her terse, laconic personality, which only makes their eventual separation so much harder and makes Mary's visit to Charlotte in London all the more devastating.
You don't understand me.
Mary, who had thought to have found someone who got her, is lampooned with Charlotte's offer of a kept life, and to be honest, I didn't like this moment because my sapphic heart wanted them to be on the same page. There is surely poetry in the moment where Charlotte comes to find Mary as she looks at the dinosaur she excavated as a child, indicating that though Mary has pushed her away, that Charlotte will not stay away in spite of her faux pas, unlike Elizabeth, Mary's ex-lover, who ultimately stopped trying. But the part of me that has watched too many sad and ambiguous endings for sapphic ladies didn't appreciate it quite as much and wanted a more definitive happy ending. However, this is only a small gripe for the overall film. For Charlotte, her journey is one of healing from grief of her lost child and finding joy in living once more. She too, like Mary, had folded in on herself, had become so drawn and quiet that we are to understand it is not her usual persona.
I want my bright, funny, clever wife back.
Her husband has been unable to help her, and there is a kind of casual neglect there at how he expects her to just be okay, and when she seeks comfort from him, he can't give it to her. She finds the comfort she wants in Mary's care of her when she is sick.
You look after me like your child.
Although we know that Mary's feelings are certainly not that of a mother to a child. Through her and Mary's growing feelings, we see Charlotte's personality emerge out of her pain, and Saoirse Ronan did a lovely job. Although for me, the true focus of the film was definitely Mary. The cinematography of the movie is gorgeous, emphasizing the rugged, windy loneliness of the English coast, used very much as a metaphor for Mary's inner world, and I guess Charlotte's as well. As the film progresses, as Mary and Charlotte fall in love, the harsh, cold blue lighting of the film slowly warms too. By the time we go for the swim in the ocean, there is a golden glow around them. I thought it was especially used to good effect when Mary goes to Elizabeth to purchase the salve for Charlotte's convalescence, and when Mary enters the garden, it is sunny, bright and colourful, in almost jarring contrast to the drab and dreary reality we've seen thus far. To me, it spoke to Mary's emotions surrounding what was obviously an important, although failed, relationship with Elizabeth, of how much that relationship had meant to her, like an oasis amongst the rest of her life, and this is confirmed when Elizabeth and Mary have their conversation near the end of the film.
I know I hurt you terribly, and I'm deeply sorry for that.
I appreciated the use of cinematic language to help reveal character, since so little is actually said in the film. I also want to make mention of the fact that even in a cerebral film like this, we still got to have the delightful "there was only one bed" trope. So in my opinion, an excellent film. Until next time, lady lovers.